The first rule in grip sport is you tell everyone about grip sport.
Crushing, pinch grip, thick bar, wrists.
If the best guy in the world can't lift 100 pounds on it, I don't give a shit about it.
We've been hitting the recaps lately, and another competition that happened on July 19th was the Greenville Grab. And just like Dub's Grip Classic Part 2, this is the second year that Zach and Andrew, you guys have hosted the Greenville Grab. So I was actually down there for your guys' debut competition. And I had a good time. We did a recap for that. It was awesome. The events were great. The venue, everything was awesome. And we covered all that in the other recap, so I don't want to get too crazy about the past one. So we'll get into kind of talking about this new one. But, thank you, Zach and Andrew, for joining the show. And, just hosting another great competition. So any thoughts about you guys kind of going from the first year and kind of going into this second year? And not just from the hosting perspective, but kind of putting yourself in for that bid of the Southeastern regionals, kind of tying that to your competition. What was your thoughts going into this second year?
Yeah. When I saw that, GSI had that as an option, I was like, let's do it. Let's put the bid in. You know what I mean? Because I there's some other folks that are hosting in the Southeast, and I like the whole idea of the regional thing that that they came up with. So yeah, I wanted to support it, and they said they can run it. You can run it with a pre-existing event. So I was like, that's a no-brainer. So I think it's a great format. You know what I mean? Kind of organizes it, per area for the U.S. and just kind of builds excitement. You know what I mean, for GSI. I think it's a great idea.
No, I agree, man. I do think that is one of the better decisions, probably one of the best decisions, I think, honestly, so far this year for Grip Sport International is implementing those regionals. W had a great turnout for his. You've had a great turnout. I know here this month we'll see what the Eastern Ohio Grip Challenge turns out to be. I know it's the same thing. It's kind of at least this first year, it seems that most people, in order to have a regionals or something that's kind of prestigious, you want to have somebody that's used to promoting or already ran an event or something like that. You don't want a first time promoter that no one knows kind of trying to handle a big region of people and maybe some seasoned lifters if they're not really sure what they're getting into. And with like Jason and Mike running the EOGC stuff for 6 or 7 years, that's what is going to happen for this region over here in Ohio and what other states are included in that. But we'll have that one. I know Vince Broderick is doing one up way up there, I think in Vermont. And that's later this year. So there's some pretty good regions that are getting covered. We might not get big participation from all of them, but from W and from you guys had phenomenal turnout. I mean, I think both you guys went like 20 plus for both competitions for total competitors. And that's not an easy thing to do. And so I think having experienced promoters, people that know what they're up to and bringing back, okay, this was a good, successful competition in its debut. We have the, second year of it. And with this regionals coming together, I was glad that you guys took that on just with the way you handled last year's competition. I thought if they're not hosting it, they need to be involved with whoever is hosting it, so for sure. Any other, I guess I always like to get into this with what was selecting the event lineup, because you hosted it at the same venue, same gym as the previous one, and I forget the name. I apologize for forgetting the name there, but if you guys want to give a shout out,
Tri-Fit Barbell.
Okay, yeah, just to give a shout out to the gym that hosted it and everything. And Andrew, you train there quite often, right? Is that your main training spot?
That's currently my home gym. They've been awesome helping us out, getting that hosted there, cutting us some breaks with trying to get signups and everything, and just having the space. They've been really trusting and making that available for us. So absolutely a phenomenal job by them.
Okay. Yeah, and then that seems like a good thing. I don't even want to get too far ahead, even worrying about next year or if whatever. We'll cover that. I hope there is a third Greenville grab, but first we got to cover the second one. But with going with the event selection, same venue. Last year's events were really cool. What was your guys' process going into this year and kind of thinking about how to, I guess, I don't know, put together an exciting lineup that would draw people in for a regional
Yeah.
competition?
I mean, personally, just the feedback from everyone last year, everyone liked the events. And then, talking to Andrew, it's good to switch it up, you know what I mean? And like, some folks said, hey man, like the whole 3x4 versus 2x5 hand size thing. So I was like, all right, let's switch it up, dude. 2x5, you know what I mean? It's just guys that have a smaller hand, I think it balances it out. And then
Yeah.
and obviously we did the 30 millimeter gripper last year. This year we did the 20 millimeter gripper. Same kind of thing. It takes out maybe the advantage of having a bigger hand, kind of levels the playing field. That was our thought process. And then we had the SSE anvil.
Stanville.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't come up with that, but yeah, obviously I just came out with anvil. I'm pretty excited about it. I'm a little prejudiced or whatever, but I think it's a pretty cool implement. It simulates an anvil. Last year we did a little bighorn, which is also a very cool implement. So I wanted to. I mean, it's the first time it was ran, and I think everyone enjoyed it. Thought it was pretty cool implement to simulate an actual anvil. And then the farmer's carry, we did the inch dumbbell farmer's carry. And because last year we did the medley where it was, I'm sorry, not medley, ladder, where it was like single bell, single arm deadlift. This year was a farmer's carry with a bell in each hand. And we had a course to walk to collect points and stuff. So we wanted to switch it up. You know what I mean? It's kind of a little more. Andrew's a strong man. He does a strong man. And I was like, yeah. And then just talking to other guys, we wanted to get, there's a little more body involved with that, right? Instead of one bell, two bells. So kind of wanted a little more athletic, more moving and obviously Mighty Mitts, they did the bell. They did the 172. So there's a little inspiration there. And I know that was a big event and people look forward to that. So that was part of the inspiration for that event. So.
Yeah, and then one thing I just add real quick for anybody that is listening.
Yeah.
I forget how much we went into depth about your anvil, but I know I was just going to say that episode 31 of the show, if anybody hasn't seen it, I did do a full length interview with Zach about his Staniewicz strength equipment and kind of talking about how he got different patterns and stuff and worked with foundries to bring inch dumbbells and other stuff. And, kind of bringing back an anvil lift, and it's a fixed anvil. It has multiple attachments, but yeah, that was episode 31 and it's a full length thing with, me and Zach, and we're covering all your equipment. So this is obviously going to be mostly talking about the competition, but if anybody hasn't checked that out, check out. There it is. Yeah. So
it sits right. You load your plates up here. It sits at a 30-degree angle. I copied it after an actual anvil that I have.
Yep. So yeah, if anybody's watching this on YouTube, you can see that. If you're just listening in somewhere else, he's just showing the anvil handle. And like I said, you can check that out on his page or Staniewicz Strength Equipment.
Yeah.
It's definitely cool to kind of have that angle to it and have it be a fixed thing, because it kind of simulates the angle of picking up a real anvil, or kind of doing that, as opposed to being like a perfect taper. Every anvil is going to be a little different, but that obviously yours is cast from a real anvil. So just a cool implement. But yeah, I wanted to mention that we went into depth about a lot of your equipment, and that is a full length episode for anybody that wants to kind of maybe dive into more of that. But it's a cool event selection, and turnout wise, I was gonna say you guys had a pretty good turnout. Was it about the same as last year, or did you have a couple more? I can't really remember. We had a decent turnout. I mean, the first one was big.
We actually ended up with 2 more this year than last year, so it got bigger. And what was exciting for us, I mean, not that we definitely missed the people that were there last year that didn't come back, yourself included, but there was quite a few people that this was their first time at the Greenville Grab. So it wasn't like we had all just the same people back
Mhm.
and with a couple additions. We actually had a pretty fresh set of faces this year, all things considered. Of course, a couple returners, which were some of our top performers. But yeah, a lot of new faces as well to the Greenville Grab and even to Grip in general. So that was really cool to see.
No, it is great to see, like I said, bringing back a competition and not only having some returning people, but yeah, new faces showing up. Now, when some of the returning people were there, was anybody looking around as you guys were getting ready to do the rules meeting? Was anybody like, "Oh man, I'm glad Jake Fuller's not here"?
Yeah,
This guy was.
he was he was gonna come out and just compete,
Yeah,
but he had some things come up, and I was just like, because he's not in Southeast, right? So it would be like
true. Yeah,
yeah,
he did move. I think
Yeah.
maybe not too long after that competition. I think he moved.
I know he wanted to come down, but he had some. I think he hiked some crazy mountain, and he just had too much going on.
Yeah.
You know,
So yeah, I mean, me and Jake both took off from that region. We
little
fled.
bastards.
Yeah, well, yeah. We can't hang with the South down there. We can't hang with your guys' region. We had to bounce out to. I'm joking. I'm not gonna throw the new regions that we're in under the bus because then they'll attack us and get on us. But yeah, I just had to throw that in there because man, Jake is so strong and he was such a monster.
He is.
That's why I was just kind of joking. You know, if people were like, "Hey, I wonder if that dude's coming back," but yeah, so he wasn't there, but yeah, he definitely killed it last year. Did really
did.
well. But yeah, getting into it, I guess we could just kind of go in event order, or maybe just how you felt, you know, from the beginning of the competition as things were getting underway, and like I said, kind of however you guys want to cover that, and just kind of work your way through sort of the summary or just the play-by-play of the competition, and that way, like we always try to do, we just try to give listeners or viewers a chance to. You know, obviously they're not there. It's not live streamed. Not everything's filmed other than maybe
Yeah.
people filming their own lifts. But getting some of this context, you know, about what was happening, you can kind of get a better idea of what was going on there. And it's not the same as being there, but you can kind of feel like you were in the room or sort of feel like, you know, oh, okay, I can kind of see what's going on if you're in the sport. So, like I said, however you want to kind of start with that first event or
Yeah.
talk about how you guys ran it and just kind of, yeah, take it however you want, man.
I'll do the first one.
Okay, go ahead.
So the first event was 20 millimeter block set gripper, set up just like last year, where we had we had a table with all, you know, the grippers set up. It was kind of like a free for all.
Mhm.
We're thinking about making some adjustments to that from this year to maybe next year. But anyway, it was just like, just go warm up. You get 4 attempts. Everyone had a traveler with their score sheet, and then they'd give it to the scorekeeper. Then we had 2 judges at the time. So anyway, yeah, it went pretty well. The top gripper close that day was a new guy, right? We talked about rookies. It was I'm probably not going to say his last name right. Is Donnie Viestra? Vistra.
Yep.
Donnie closed a 160 gripper, a 20 millimeter block. So that was pretty cool. As a rookie, you know what I mean? Like
No,
hasn't
Is that his
competed
first
before.
like official competition?
Yeah,
Okay.
as
Yeah.
far as I know. So now I met him. He posted something on one of the forums about, you know, competitions a couple weeks prior. It wasn't like he even had much training, you know what I mean, leading up. But yeah, so that was pretty remarkable. I mean, that was pretty cool. So that was like one of the top gripper closes. There was a handful of 150s and 155s. Let's see, Jack Palmer had a 155 close in the 105 class. It's pretty
No,
respectable.
I mean, yeah, for anybody listening in, I mean, when we start talking anything like 150 to 160, when you get to 160, you're I'm not gonna say that's out of reach of a number 3. It would be a very, very hard number 3
Yeah.
for captains to crush. And that's what most people kind of, you know, scale things by often. That's kind of the benchmark or whatever. But yeah, if we're talking, you know, 150 is pretty much right around an average number 3, kind of in the middle. So this isn't like it's closing an easy number 3.
Yeah.
These are basically middle of the pack to, you know, high number 3s, and you have multiple people closing that with the block and everything else. So that's just for kind of scale. Anyone listening, like, what's a 150? What's a 155? If you don't know what that means, they're closing number 3s. They're closing a
Yeah.
captain to crush number 3.
Yeah.
You know, with a block set, which you have to kind of hold it and, you know, run it through the handles, and you know,
And
yeah. So anyway,
as the one judging Danny, it was also interesting because he was a very fast closer too. There was a couple of his attempts. He actually had to close so fast, or he had to close twice because as a judge, he closed it so fast. I was like, dude, I heard it, but I didn't see it. Like you could hear the click as they slammed together, but I needed to see
okay.
it. So that was pretty crazy that he
Well,
not only was he doing these big numbers, he was doing them multiple times.
yeah. Well, and another thing about that is, when judging that event, that is something, I mean, obviously, the judge is going to work and try to get the best angle, but if you're the closer, you don't want to mess up and like maybe I'm here setting it and then I maybe do some kind of motion where like I don't know, I get it set and then maybe I run the block, but then when I go to start my close, maybe I like turn or I do something that might hide it from the judge, Yeah, the judge can move and they might be trying to check it out, but you know, it's still kind of it's on both parties, but it's still kind of on you on you as in the lifter or the closer, to make sure that those handles are, presented in a way that the judge doesn't have to like question it. So I get what you mean with that, where you're like, yeah, dude, I do believe you closed it, but I didn't even see it. How can I can't
Yeah.
make that call. But no, yeah, it's good that that worked out and everybody was I don't know, getting
Yeah.
whatever they landed, they were able to get it on the board.
Mhm.
Just and I forgot to mention, so the grippers were sent by Matt Cannon from Cannon Powerworks, who's one of our sponsors. So like if you're a promoter and you're interested in, running an event and grippers, Matt runs a like a program, he'll send them out to you. They're all rated by him 5-pound
Mhm.
increments. I think like 35 to like 230, something absurd.
Yeah.
Anyway, very cool service, very grateful. But yeah, that's where we got all the grippers. So I just, shout out to Matt for that.
No, for sure. Yeah, it's great that he sponsored it, and
Yeah.
it's been kind of a nice thing, sort of having official sets or having sets of grippers like that that can kind of be implemented or just make different
Yeah.
incremental jumps easier for promoters. So
Yeah.
definitely a good thing.
But like I said, Donnie had the 160. Jack Palmer had a 155 close. I had a 155. Chris Tracy had a 155 close. And let's see, Jason Otto had a 145 close. So those are some of the bigger closes on the male side. And then Laura Palmer had a close a 65 RGC on the women's side. That was the top women's gripper close on the day. So those are some of the highlights from that event.
Okay, yeah. And then what event did you guys run second? Because like I said, we talked about the events, but I don't know if we covered the order yet. What was second on
The second was the 2x5 Saxon bar deadlift. That one definitely got exciting. There was a couple people that I know got on some record boards with those lifts. Overall best lift of the day was Nate Powell, which no surprise, I think he had the best lift last year on that of the 3x4. He got a 270 2x5, very very clean lift. And then in the middleweight guys with the 105, Jack Palmer hit a 250. So
cool.
just crazy that the size disparity, and he was coming within 20 pounds of what Nate was lifting. Which Nate, what plays into that with Nate is you actually have to remind him that he's not allowed to hook grip the Saxon bar. So with those big old mitts of his. Other big lifts, Matt McCall in the lightweights getting right up there as well, hitting around 235.
Okay, that's a good pull for him. I mean, Matt's so strong, and he was there last year. And then I did see him at the Arnold, and I think maybe some of the rule set stuff at the Arnold maybe threw him off occasionally, or I don't know. I'd have to go back and think, but yeah, no, Matt is one of those people that is so strong starting off that the more he refines technique or the more he just keeps competing and sticks with it, it's fun to see. So I definitely like Matt as a lifter and think that he just had so much great potential out the gate when I first met him.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh man, like, dude, I hope he sticks with it. That's what I was thinking when he first started. Cause I'm like, oh, you're too strong to like not be doing this. So it's cool to see him, traveling a little bit, sticking around and just staying consistent and hitting, bigger and bigger lifts.
I mean, I think it's appropriate, but I talked to Matt after the comp, or no, a couple days later, and he said he barely trained. He's just been so darn busy. But anyway, what I'm saying is, I mean, he's pretty dang strong. You know, kind of, you know,
Mhm.
what you're saying. He's been so busy, and yeah, he hasn't been training a whole lot. He said.
Okay, well, and then sometimes, depending on what someone's doing for work or other things
Yeah,
or their regular tasks,
yeah,
sometimes now it's obviously not the best thing for like long term,
yeah,
but I've even noticed sometimes when I train less and I actually go into a competition recovered, my grip act,
yeah.
I sometimes walk away
Better.
a little bit better off. So sometimes people
Yeah,
will hit me up and they'll be like, "Hey, how's training going?" And I'm like, "Oh God,
yeah,
I'm only lifting like once a week right now, you know,
yeah,
or whatever time they catch me if I get
yeah.
real busy." And I'm like, but then I'll take like, 7, 8 days off for the competition and go like
And kill it.
set PRs. And I'm like,
Yeah,
oh yeah, maybe me trying to do like the craziest feats I can think of 2 to 3 days before the competition wasn't a good thing in the past. And
yeah.
I was
Yeah, let
hurting
me
my
spray
lifts.
some
So,
WD-40 on the inch bell, and lift it. That sounds like
well,
it's good.
apparently it's tacky and I just replaced
I
the
know.
label and the bell's fake anyway. So
I know.
there's a whole lot of smoke and mirrors going on with that trick. I'm just kidding. But yeah. No, so yeah, shout out to Matt for pulling that lift on Saxon.
And then
Hopefully still has that inch bell I sold him. Hasn't traded
He's
it off
got
or
it.
thrown it
Oh, he's
some.
got it. He's
I'm
got
I'm
it.
I'm, I'm more so messing around. It's his. He can
Yeah.
do what he wants. You know?
Yeah.
He can do
and
whatever
then
he
on
wants.
the women's side of things with the Saxon bar, you had Sierra Powell, which I'm sure Nate's helping coach her a little bit, hitting a 125 as a female, which was within 35 pounds of what some of the men were hitting that day.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
so absolutely phenomenal lift for her.
Well, Sierra's also newer to the sport. I mean, Nate and her both are in a way, but Nate kind of jumped in and was doing a lot of competitions. Then Sierra was like, "Oh, I'm gonna," she kind of started throwing herself in the mix with people, and yeah, I think she did the Arnold Open.
Well, she won the Arnold
Yeah,
Open, didn't
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
she
well,
won the Arnold Open.
won the women's Arnold Open, and then
Yeah.
now at your guys' competition, we'll get to it, but she was the overall regional champ for the Southeastern region. So she,
Yeah.
spoiler alert for anybody that wanted me to not announce that till the end or something. But yeah, so Sierra Powell took the women's side, but yeah, it's cool to have Nate and her both, kind of training or lifting. And it's always good when you have somebody else that has been through the competitions and done the sport to kind of break it down for you because
Yeah.
if she was on her own, it might not be as, fast of a learning curve for it, or you might not even, I don't know, you might just have to figure stuff out on your own. But with Nate already being so good at Saxon, and that being one of his stronger lifts, yeah, it probably helped her out a little bit with some of the stuff he's, been doing and
Yeah.
him competing. But yeah, no, she's had a very good intro to the sport, and once again, hopefully somebody that'll stick with it and
Yeah.
keep competing.
I mean, side note, like Nate and Sierra came over to the house here at the garage, and I don't know, Nate and I were talking. They were just stopping by to pick something up, and she's like, "Hey Zach, can I go check out the bells?" Like, Nate and I are just talking. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And she came over to here and she started lifting stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like they weren't there to lift, but you can see the excitement, which is it's fun to
Yeah.
see. And then obviously she's been pretty successful. So yeah, it's pretty exciting to see where she goes with it. So.
All right. Any other big stuff on Saxon?
No, I will make a comment here when you talk about just the order of things. This was kind of unique, or I thought it was unique. Everybody started with the 20 millimeter grippers, and then we ran Saxon bar and the Stanville simultaneously.
Okay.
So one group was doing, I can't remember what the groups are now, but one group was doing Saxon bar while the other was doing, and then they swapped. Kept it consistent because like everyone within your weight class was doing the same order of events, but every
Okay.
weight class was not doing the same order. So
Okay.
helped the
Yeah.
competition run smoother too.
Yeah. Well, that was something you guys did the first year too, where you kind of had. I mean, you had a lot of great helpers, for the gripper judging that helped that flow. You had multiple judges. That way everybody wasn't waiting on one judge. And then, yeah, you kind of had that two platform thing sort of implemented last year, a little differently, but it made the competition last year go smooth. So I'm sure it was probably kind of the same idea, but maybe you guys refined it a little bit and
Yeah.
came up with that. But yeah, I think that that's a smart move. And
Yeah.
it's good to kind of pair the classes up. That way, if you you'd hate to like have somebody get second or third and be like, oh, if I had done that first, I would have,
Right.
hey, you did it in the same order. And,
Yep.
Everybody does the same.
generally
And same judges. Everyone had the same judge.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Yeah, so we had the anvil was next. So
Mhm.
the 6-inch, it was a 6-inch lift. And yeah, so I got the sheet here. Top lift,
It was around 220.
220. Chris Tracy hit 220. Hunter hit 220. Hunter Heath. Sorry.
Yeah, Hunter has
Great V bar.
Hunter's. I mean, he's strong. He's well rounded. And he's strong pretty much across the board for most lifts. I'd have to check, like grippers or other stuff, but I'm familiar with a decent portion of Hunter's lifts and everything. I competed with him in North Carolina a couple times with your guys' Greenville grab, and I lifted with Hunter. I think when he first got in the sport, he came out to the house and like lifted some stuff, So I've known Hunter since he really got into it, and yeah, one of the things I remember when he first started was, okay, he's pretty strong at most of the other stuff, and he's made improvements and gains there, but it seemed like right out of the gate, V-bar was very natural for him, and his V-bar was like obviously he's strong everywhere, but his V-bar early on was like, hey man, like that's an event that you need to like, kind of lean into a little bit because you're already like pulling great numbers there. So, just get those other numbers bumped up a little bit and the V-bar will take care of itself. Like you ain't got to worry about that because we did the solid V-bar at one of James Rederitis' competitions for the AGP, one of the AGPs over there. Yeah. And I don't want to get it wrong. They come up with their crazy name, like the arm. It's like the Arm Highland Grip Strong Wrestling Games. They just put like every sport in the name, just to mess around. But you call it AGP. But we did a solid V-bar lift there, and Hunter pulled like I don't know, I don't want to say like 280 or something. I don't know. It was a lot. But yeah, and then other times I've seen him contest like hilt or any other V-bar. He does very well. So. I'm not surprised with him being right there towards the top on that.
Quick note about Hunter. The cutoff for heavyweight was anything over 231, and Hunter weighed in at 234, fully clothed, and he might have had some lead shot in his pockets. He came to compete with the big guys. I was like, dude, you don't want to go to the bathroom real quick and drop a weight class? He was like, no, I'm good, man.
Okay. Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, I've ran into that same problem myself, being, a similar weight, where there's sometimes where on the score sheet, I'm in the like, oh, he's in the 120 class, and somebody that doesn't know me or isn't aware of it, they might be like, oh, he's 265. It's like, no, dude, I weighed like 233. I just didn't. Yeah. I didn't want to cut weight that day or something, or I ate like a giant meal the night before because I just didn't care and I planned on missing weight. But I know how that goes. You end up with the 120s or the big dudes, and you might have just been like barely over the next cutoff. So. Yeah.
Jack Palmer lifted 215. Another huge lift. You know what I mean? And he's in a middleweight class.
He competed last year, didn't he? Right?
He lifted the inch bell with like minimal training.
So, as somebody that competed against Jack Palmer last year, Jack Palmer messed up on the Little Bighorn last year and ended up zeroing it. That was the only thing that allowed me on the podium last year because he did a commanding performance. I think he won every event in his weight class this year quite handily, pun intended.
I do remember that now. Now I'm remembering that because I know we covered it, and I knew that like somebody had a really good performance, but they zeroed that Little Bighorn.
Yep.
But then and then you brought up the inch lift. That's what I was thinking of.
And like a side note, he pulled 260. It's just training, right? At the house.
Dude, but still, I mean,
he pulled 260 here at the house, like a couple weeks prior to the event. So we're probably gonna see some things coming from him. And then one other highlight: Rob Harris in the lightweight. So that's a 93 kg class. He pulled 200 on the Stanville. So those are some of the highlights, for that event.
Now, here's Zach. I got to ask you something, okay? Yeah. Because I do know the results, right?
Yeah.
You've been reading off all this other stuff. I have not heard you tell me what you've lifted on these things. How are you? You talked about your grippers, but you skipped over your Saxon lift and what you lifted on your own thing there. What kind of stuff are you throwing? I pulled
245 on the Saxon and 220 on the anvil.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
You're
I'm
right.
doing all right.
Yeah, you're right there. I was going to say, just considering the results, you have to be right. So I'm just messing around. I just wanted clarification
Yeah.
for we're going to read off all this stuff, and then you're going to be like, "Hey, surprise!"
Yeah.
Whatever. But no, keep going.
No, you're right. You're right. Dude, I was like running event. So like another thing. So you mentioned James Rodriguez. James
Yes.
was the MC for this event.
Mm-hmm.
So like last year, Andrew over here competed and did the MC and
Yep.
did all
I
that
remember.
stuff. So one of the things I was like, we got to get somebody. And James is right down the road. Like 2 hours,
Mhm.
hour and a half down the road, and he's done it right. And he was
No,
he was
he's
on board. So we were
yeah.
fortunate enough to have James as the MC, and he's good, man. Like
Oh,
him.
James is funny.
He's funny. Like he's over here. He's like, oh, we got Phil Necro on the Saxon bar, talking about me.
Yeah. Well,
And
the
then,
other thing
like,
about James too is outside of grip, he's very knowledgeable about other sports,
yeah,
and he can make a lot of good references, movies, other sports.
yeah,
He can do it. Yeah.
he's good.
Did a great job.
He did a great job.
And
Yeah, he made it fun. You know what I mean? Like people were chuckling, and I'm grateful that he was able to help out. It was awesome.
without me going, like I said, I don't want to stray too much, but
Yeah,
first grip competition I ever did
yeah,
was one that James was doing, and it was at this like Southeastern like regionals for like arm wrestling though. So
Yeah.
it was this big arm wrestling thing, and there was going to be a grip competition afterwards in the back. So I got there early because it's the first time I'm doing this. I don't know what I'm getting into.
yeah.
And there's all of these just arm wrestling things going on. They got like 4 or 5 tables running. The whole crowd is just all arm wrestling, and I'm like, just here for the grip thing later,
Yeah.
Didn't know what I was doing, but but James was emceeing the competition. I had never met him at that point. I knew nothing about anybody other than what you saw online, and I just kind of went up to him during one of the intermission things or something and said, oh hey, I'm here for the grip thing. I had to ask a couple arm wrestlers to take me up to him, and he's like, oh yeah, we're doing that later, whatever. But I said, yeah, I'd messaged him maybe and asked him, ahead of time, let him know I was going to come for the grip thing, and that was my first one. And but James was emceeing that day, and it was funny because man, when some of the arm wrestlers would get into it or something, it's like you'd have some dude like they're about to fight, or like one dude's like banging on the table and
Yeah.
putting on a scene, and James will be like, hey man, somebody give that dude a Xanax, and he was
Good.
he was doing the same thing. So I've
Yeah.
seen James. I've been to numerous competitions James has been involved in and judged, and I've seen James MC pretty big arm wrestling thing live. And for anybody that doesn't know, James has also done this in the past for he might have been emceeing like Living Legends in 2019. That was a very big competition, but he's been that guy before that
Yeah.
can work the mic and get people going, and
Yeah.
it just adds to the competition,
Oh,
instead
yeah.
of just it's music in the background, or it's talking.
Yeah.
To have somebody knowing the lifters, or moving it along, I think it's good. It's just tough to find people to do it sometimes
Yeah.
because
We're lucky.
yeah. So no, James was a good call for that job. So yeah, and also a former guest of the show. So
Yeah.
James has been on the Grip Show as well. So
It's famous. Paparazzi follows him everywhere.
Grip famous,
Grip famous.
arm
Yeah.
wrestling famous.
Oh,
he
God.
wrote the book.
I know.
He wrote the book on
I know,
Okay,
he wrote the damn book.
I'll chill out on messing with James stuff. but-
And then I don't know if I met Sierra Powell pulled 110 on the anvil.
Yeah.
So that was the top lift with the women's anvil. So
Although I know
Okay.
I don't think we've mentioned her yet. Laura Palmer wasn't far behind with 95. So,
Yep.
but we hadn't had a really
Mhm.
chance to bring her up yet. She definitely put on some solid numbers as well for the lightweight women. So
Mhm.
yeah, so those are the top lifts on the anvil, Zach.
stand.
Okay.
And then the last event was the inch dumbbell medley.
Oh man.
Tell you what, I'll cover just the conception
there
of
you
it,
go.
and then you can cover the scoring because
Yep.
he's the only one that understands it.
It's convenient.
So like you said, we wanted to kind of keep similar events, but also kind of introduce something new each year, something cute and something innovative if at all possible. And so with this inch dumbbell medley, like, hey, what's harder than picking up an inch dumbbell? Let's pick up two at the same time to make them walk with it. So we got a lot of feedback about how grueling that event was. So we were really excited to see exactly what numbers and see if those inch dumbbells would move. Had a lot of people that gave it valiant efforts. This guy being one of them. Really cool event to watch. A lot of people got into cheering that one on. That was the final event that everybody did together. And so Stan here will take over the scoring of how that works.
Yeah, so it was 2-minute time limit like last year's ladder. For the lightweight, for the women's, it was 20 pairs of 25s, 50s, 75s, 100s. The course, it was a 50-foot course. We had a cone in the middle at 25 feet. You walked to 25s and you wanted to do the 50s, you could stop at the 25 marker and then go to the 50s. So it almost unlocked the next level of dumbbells. You had to start at the bottom, work your way up. If you couldn't lift the 50s, you would max points 75 feet with the 25s, which would be 99 points.
Okay.
So it is 1.3 points per foot.
Okay. You're just going with scoring bracket. You basically have brackets for the increment or how far that goes, and you have basically a point system per thing. And obviously same bells, greater distance goes to, the greater distance. And then if it's, smaller bell, farther distance, it's not going to beat a heavier bell at a shorter distance. So the weight of the bell is going to always trump a lighter bell distance. But yeah, and I'm pretty sure everybody's probably following along and understands roughly that same concept in the scoring. Maybe not point by point or how you figured it, but the general idea of it, I think most people are following probably.
Yep. So there's a little strategy. So if you thought you had a chance at the big boys, the 172s, you wouldn't walk 75 feet with a 150s. You walk 25 feet and give the 170, there's a little strategy. So that was the idea. It's a little more strongman. That's kind of how the scoring was. 25s was 0 to 99. 50s was, 101 or, 101 pretty much to 200 or 199. And then with 75s were 200. Yeah, anyway, that's how it was. That's how the scoring was. It was scary because I thought people were gonna lose their toes and stuff. That was part of the thrill of watching it. And it was one person at a time, so it was cool. It was center stage. Just one person. This is your time to shine. Everyone was there watching music.
Don't go passing out or tripping over your feet and falling down because people are paying attention now. No, I'm messing around, but. Yeah. So
it was pretty cool. It was, to me, I guess I'm a little prejudiced because I had some of the bells I make that were there. And,
but like I said, we talked about that in the episode I mentioned where, you're producing increments that haven't been available in the States or other people haven't done. So for you to produce you're producing these bells. I think it only makes sense to have the actual bells because I think it's great in the absence of certain bells to have, plate loadable setups, but you also make those handles. But, But yeah, I think that when you have the actual globe dumbbells,
it
looks better than when you got standard plates, tightened down on a handle. So I think that's for the most part. And granted, you might not have every single size covered, but the fact that you do have some
couple of them
variety in your bells that you could kind of help that event. So
the patterns are at the foundry, dude. The 25s, 50s, 75s, 100s, 50s are there. It's just
takes time.
It's out of my hands right now. So next year they'll be available for sure.
Okay.
Or it'll be sooner than that. Anyway, so some of the highlights from like scores. Nate Powell and I tied at 599. Anyway, we walked the hundreds, 125s, 150s. 75 feet. So the 150s, we both walked them 75 feet. I think what Nate did, his strategy, he walked them 25 feet and then went to the 172s or 175s, right around there. And I think he rested, maybe 15 seconds and then attempted them, got him like, an inch or two off the ground, I think, and then went back to the 150s and then did 75 feet. I just did the 75 feet, down 50, 25, waited for like 10, 15 seconds to go, in the 2 minutes. And I I think I got a mid shin maybe,
Yeah.
and I was
Value never.
toast. I was toast. So that was like the men's side, some of the top ones, and then
You did have
Palmer.
Yeah, Palmer.
Palmer, here he is again. He walked him. He walked the 150s pretty much, I think about 60 feet. He almost completed 75 feet. So he started at the hundreds, 125s, 150s, and he did about 60 feet. So that was a top farmer's carry for the middleweight. And then for the lightweight, Rob Harris walked the 150s a couple feet. So so for the lightweight we did 75s, 100s, 125s, 150s. Just so you know what I mean, they're still getting some volume and they're not, failing after the first bell, So he walked the 150s a couple feet. And then Matt McCall walked the 125s the whole 75 feet. Those are some of the highlights for the men's side. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good.
And then for the women's side, Sierra Powell walked let me get my numbers right. It would be the 75s, probably about 50 feet. It looks like. So that's pretty darn good.
That's real good. Yeah.
And then Laura Palmer walked the 50s the whole 75 feet.
And that's good too. And like I had this talk with someone recently where and I'm only bringing this up because I've had a similar like situation where when you get into grip, you start kind of like thinking about these feats or these certain things, and sometimes your perception of like what's good or what's strong is based off of something different. And what I mean is like, for the longest time, I'm like, trying to train this inch dumbbell, then I'm lifting the inch, then I'm lifting above the inch and doing whatever. And then you return back to regular dumbbells, and then you start to realize how heavy that actually is. Because I get to a point where I'm like, at one point I was like, oh, I'm gonna try to take a 190-pound inch dumbbell and do a dumbbell row with it, just a single row, just row it, one time. And I did that, but like it took me a bit, and there was times where I failed it, and I was like getting pissed at myself. But then I was thinking, I'm like, when have you ever rowed 190 pounds with a regular handle or bar, let alone a 2 3/8 or a 2.5 inch handle that's spinning out of your hand? Like, it's crazy. So it puts it in perspective when you like go back and grab like dumbbells of the same weight. Like, I'm just saying, like, when I was probably doing like dumbbell rows and like regular strength training for like an accessory and doing more volume, being younger up to, I don't know, something in my 20s, I was probably typically rowing like, single hand, 70s to maybe like 120s or 125s, depending on where you're at and what you're doing. And then here I am, getting into grip where it's like, oh, if I can't row the inch dumbbell, I'm a failure. And it's like, when were you ever rowing 170s before? Like, it's just funny because sometimes in grip we get like this benchmark or this standard of what we have to do. And, just saying like, oh, well, 75 or 50 pounds doesn't sound like much. It's like, well, what were these women lifting on before? Because even just carrying regular dumbbells, that might be more than what, some people could do, or the hundreds and 75s. Sorry, I think that's what they did, was the 175s. But like, think about just farmers walking 100-pound dumbbells with regular knurling on them, not counting that it's a thick grip that's going to have a completely different action to it. So it can be deceiving. And like I said, I think sometimes we get our eyes set on like, well, what's this on the leaderboard, or what do I got to do on that? And we forget like everything we did in the past on regular bars wasn't even as heavy as the stuff we're doing on thick bars or rolling handles now sometimes. So it's just something different to think about. But I've had that issue with myself where I'm like so hard on myself, and I look back at what I did in the past and I'm like, well, before you got into this, what did you ever really do? I mean, I had a good training base, but it's like you weren't even lifting that heavy on some of these exercises that you think you need to be doing on crazy grip lifts, So it's just funny to look back on sometimes. So no, those are great. For the women's divisions there, that's those are good carries. Cause like I said, just picture, telling a woman at the gym, like, hey, pick up those hundreds and start farmers walking them. I mean, that's 200 pounds. I mean, I'm just saying, like, that's a good weight, and that's not counting the inch dumbbell effect.
Yeah.
So
and it's a solid unit. It's rolling the whole. the plate loadable ones, they're locked in. It's not like this
Yes,
free
for sure.
flowing plate thing. So it's
Yeah.
yeah. So
This is SSE equipment we're talking about.
yeah, this
with,
this
with,
ain't no
with,
amateur
with
hour.
Zach, yeah, this ain't amateur hour.
Yeah.
Zach Stanowitz is there on site.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The one I wanted to highlight specifically on the inch dumbbell medley, and we haven't talked about him yet, but he actually had the third best overall in the heavyweight and the fourth best overall points for the day on the inch was Evan Schwarbrock. And I
Okay.
probably pronounced that wrong, so Evan, if you watch this, I'm sorry. But to highlight something about him was he was blind.
He's blind.
He was carrying these dumbbells and he's blind. We obviously allowed his, I think it was his wife,
Yeah.
to kind of be there to guide him when he needed to set him down, turn around. But yeah, they have the third best overall and the fourth in the heavyweight and fourth best overall doing this stuff. He was an inspiration to everybody there, I believe.
No, that's really awesome.
First
Oh,
prep
yeah.
competition for him as well. He does a lot of he's Kane and Abel Fitness on Instagram. He does a lot of like influence and type stuff, specifically for like disabilities and everything. And he wanted to jump into grip, so he came out to our show, and we were grateful to have him there for sure.
Yeah.
He put on a
That's
great-
definitely cool. Yeah, because
I met him.
I don't know if I've seen anything like that, or I don't know if that's been necessarily like done before. You know what I mean? I mean, it's rare to see an inch dumbbell farmer walk in a competition, but yeah, I don't know in the past. You know what I mean? I've been in the sport roughly probably 5 years or so now,
Yeah.
maybe a little over. But yeah, I don't know that I've seen anything like that or had that experience or anything. So that's pretty cool.
So I met Evan a couple weeks prior, maybe probably a month or two down at Summer Strong.
Okay.
At the booth and the bells and Liz is his wife's name, Liz and Evan. They came out. They hung out with me for I don't know, a good 30, 40 minutes, just lifting bells and stuff. He was all about it. And yeah, I want to say he pulled 650, 700 double overhand at the deadlift comp at Sorinex. They do a deadlift comp.
Yeah.
Kid ain't no joke, man.
That's strong.
650, 700 double overhand. Like I went in there, I didn't want to. I didn't have any plans to deadlift. I ended up doing 500 double overhand. It was pretty good, you know.
No,
and a couple minutes later, I'm watching him. He did a 650 double overhand. I was like, damn, that's strong, dude.
No,
Hey,
absolutely.
Very cool. Real deal, man.
And he wasn't hook gripping it?
I don't think he was, man.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just curious. Either way, I mean,
somebody,
care.
I want to say, because
I could use straps. I'm not getting 650 off the ground. Yeah. So it is what it is.
I don't think he was, because a couple other guys said that, and the guy doing the hype show text, he made a big deal out of it for me, and I didn't ask him to, and then Evan just did it casually. I was like, dude, that's salty. That's badass. It was pretty cool to watch. And they were going to come out last year because I did some promotion for last year. They were familiar with the event last year.
Okay.
They were busy. But it was cool to have them there. And anyway, very inspirational, very cool.
Yep.
So from that, do you guys want to kind of get into maybe who? I guess who won the overall or the classes, or kind of just break that up. I mean, however you would like to. Maybe I guess. Sort of announce. I know I threw away the women's division secret earlier in the show.
So the
even though it's been posted about, I don't think it's a secret. But for the sake of this episode, if you weren't aware and you tuned in,
absolutely. Women overall women went to Sierra Powell, and then of course she was the heavyweight champion. With the lightweight champion being Laura Palmer, our under 72 kilograms. Moving on to the middleweight, or excuse me, the lightweight male, I guess, under 93 kilograms. Matt McCall, we've already mentioned his name a couple times, took the champion over there with Rob Harris and Sean Palmer coming in. You'll hear the Palmer name a lot. They cleaned up that on the day of the competition.
Yeah, they had five. You had Sean, Pete, Jack, Laura, and Sean, who's a teenager. I want to say he's 16, 17. He's young. His buddy was there too. So it was cool. There's a lot of Palmers.
Palmer families came palms ready for stuff.
Yes.
The middleweight men under 105, only 3 in that category, but as we already said, Jack Palmer put on quite a commanding show, winning every event. Hunter Shears coming in second with Nicholas Johnson. He was there last year, coming in third. And then in the heavyweight, for the men, we learned that if you make half the equipment and have your wife run the scoreboard, you take the overall win. Old Mr. Zach Staniewicz over here took the championship with the men heavyweight. And then
SSE. SSE. No.
and then actually ended up had a straight tie at 373 points between Nate Powell and Chris Tracy that on the count back ended up going to Nate taking second because he had 2 overall event wins to Chris's only 1 overall event win. So
Okay.
What we used to separate those two. So definitely a tight race in the men's category.
Yeah, man. Well, I say, Zach, congrats. I know I was joking about spoilers and stuff, but yeah, you know, hosted, and obviously both you guys are hosted, but Zach, you're in here hosting it. You got some equipment in the thing, and yeah, you put it together, but you still had to work to come out on top.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like we mentioned all these prior lifts and everything else. It wasn't like you were just like coasting and you had competition. There was no guarantee that you were going to win this.
I knew when I saw Nate, Hunter, Chris, like guys I knew, and I saw that, I was like, this ain't gonna be easy. Chris did King Kong last year, and he blew it out the water down in Greenville. I was like, that guy's gonna be tough to beat, anyway. And I didn't know, we finished. I had no idea, dude. I was running around doing stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so it just wasn't like a given. Even in the moment, you didn't know you won.
I wasn't like looking at, like I was just, hey, there are my numbers, and it was a nice surprise.
I mean, it is a point to consistency though, because I mean, if you look at the overall type thing, him and Nate both had 2 event wins overall. So the question was asked of me, because I was the one helping out with the scoreboard, was how did Nate have 2 event wins overall, set a record on the record board, and still only come in second? And I'm like, well, Zach was more consistent. That's what it comes down to. You can have a couple great lifts here and there, but Zach was definitely the most consistent across the board in that open men's heavyweight. So
yeah, and it might be a slightly different format, but what format did you guys run for the scoring mostly, Zach? Did you do the same thing where you did like the adding up everything as a total type deal, or?
It was reverse scoring out of 100, so basic like grip scoring type thing. You got the spread of the points were based on your place, what weight you had, the percentage.
Okay, so percentage based scoring with that. Okay,
percentage based scoring.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So with like King Kong, you have like the reverse strongman style scoring. But I was going to mention that Carter Calo, he won King Kong last year, but he didn't have any event wins. But every lift he did was like 4th place, 5th place, maybe like 11th, 8th. Yeah. And you might have a guy that has a 1, but then he gives up enough ground on one event. He's got 37. It's like you're not in the running anymore. So that consistency across the board, you can have a guy that kills it, wins 2 events, and then just if you fall off on with these competitions, if you have a weak spot or something that isn't, up there, you got to be consistent to hang with the best in the competition. And obviously, I mean, Nate took second, so he's right there in the running. But yeah. If if you close a gripper that's 20 points less than someone else, or whatever the case may be, that can be enough ground to outdo the biggest, greatest lift in any one thing. I mean, it can just, completely drop you on certain things. So yeah, it's possible for you to, in theory, probably win 2 or 3 events almost. And then depending on what happens, you could still almost, or if you like 0 an event, you could win 3 events and 0 one event. And then it's like, oh man, you're not even, so there's a lot of stuff that can happen on the day. Scoring wise. So yeah, you got to make sure you get points on the board, and you got to make sure that you're consistent across everything. And sometimes it's not even about how much you're outdoing people by on your strongest lift. Sometimes it's about what is your weakest lift and how much have you brought that up to kind of, catch up to those top people in whatever that discipline is. So, but yeah, I mean, it sounds like a very tight race. I mean, across most of the podiums anyway. I mean, there was no like freebies really.
No. No.
Yeah. Sorry to go on a tangent there about that, but yeah, that's
Oh yeah.
it's just an example
yours
that I'm
also
pulling
Yeah.
from. 'Cause-
No. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, Andrew set this up. What is it, Matt? Matt's
Matt's
Metalwork?
Metalworks on Etsy. Yep.
He did I don't know if you could see, but there's
Oh,
some
yeah,
photos
those-
online, but it's a
Yeah.
rebar guy pulling the Saxon. So this
Yep.
was for first place, and then we had which
medals.
medallions
Some medallions.
medallions for second and third.
Yep.
And then we had other categories where we recognize people. So we did a top body weight to strength winners, right? Because like sometimes like there's a smaller guy, he might not put up huge numbers, but for his body weight, it's like amazing. So for the men's, that was Jack Palmer. He had he won he won the men's body weight to strength ratio, and then for women's was his sister Laura Palmer, which is pretty cool. And I got so that was the top body weight to strength winners, and then you donated the grip show. Sorry, that's CEO.
Yeah, the grip show. My staff and everybody in this room. I got
the whole
camera
staff.
crew and the whole.
Your secretary sent some prize money for that, and you did a top farmers carry winners for the men's and women. So Nate took the for the men's, and then Sierra took it for the women's.
The spouses cleaning out the cash.
Spouses and brother or sister. That's kind of funny. Yep. The other category we had was top gripper clothes, and we had Donnie Vistra. He had a 160. And then so that was, and then top rookie. We had Dusty Holyfield, who I met a couple weeks prior to the event. I was buying some steel, for I think it was for the inch handles, and he said, "Hey, you guys lift over here?" He looked athletic, and he's like, "Yeah. Matter of fact, we got an implement over here." And I was like, "Oh, really?" It was a 4-inch round, 65 pounds, like steel round. It was like a hub lift. So it was all greased up and everything. I was like,
put some chalk on that.
Yeah. What the heck's this? So anyway, I went over there, and I had gloves on, just like leather gloves. I didn't lift it, and then I kind of warmed up. I ended up getting it, and he ended up getting it. And he had a dynamometer at work. Yeah. This is at work. So I was like, "Hey, man, and then I told him about what I do and in the event, and his cousin Clay also competed. He was I think he was in the middleweight. So Dusty and Clay, his cousin, they both competed. So he did pretty good. He had some, for his first comp, he had pretty respectable numbers. And I think he had a dynamometer. Did I say that? He had a dynamometer at work too? Anyway.
Dynamometer, I don't know.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it.
I don't like them, but I'm familiar.
Yeah. So anyway.
It's a good measuring contest.
Yeah. Yeah. So those guys are into it, and which is pretty cool, random. What I mean?
But if you see somebody that has like something that's testing their grip and they're doing some stuff, you're like, hey, you got these challenges hanging out here at this thing. Yeah. Come do this and like with other people and kind of see what else is out there. You're already kind of, testing yourself on your own stuff here and doing different things. Like this is actually a sport. Come hang out and see what's up.
I brought a 160, 160 pound inch bell, and he pulled it.
Okay, yeah, no, that's a very good lift. I mean,
very good. So
you're like knocking on the door for a full replica lift at that point. I mean, that's like minimal training. I mean, to make that, if that's where you're starting. Yeah,
pretty legit.
You
want to go over sponsors?
Yeah. So we'll read the back. So we had what does BO stand for?
Bo Jackson, Bo 3.0.
Okay.
They do like drink supplements. So they provided a bunch of packs of drink supplement like sugar free and like Gatorade kind of stuff. You throw in water. So that was what they brought to the table.
Yep. Okay. So Bo 3.0. Obviously mentioned Cannon Power Works already. Eat Chalk Get Big. Gave some gift cards, I believe, or something.
They did bending bundles. Okay. So they had a bunch of 60D nails and leather packs. So appreciate it, Devin.
Iron Mind with some prizes. The gripper, I think top.
They did. They donated a number 2 gripper, $50 gift card and posters, like Iron Mind posters with like
Yeah.
different things like that.
Nemesis grips with some gift cards. Sad Little Sausages, they gave some cash that went to the trophies, and then they were on site selling some of their merch.
Okay.
Scrap Masters, Welding, Clint up out of North Carolina gave some gift cards for prizes. Sports Grips actually had a rep come down all the way from New York, gave away some of his products to overall lifters.
Yeah. So it's anyways. I mean, the dude flew down here from New York,
Mhm.
Mullins.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And he didn't know about the sport. I'm sorry,
You're good.
but it's a pretty good implement. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah,
but
you
see-
basically it has probably like the adjustable setting on it to kind of like add
Yep.
or reduce the resistance, and then you're kind of twisting type,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
So the retail is $180. He gave out one for first place for all the weight classes, so that's 5, and then
Mhm.
he gave out 2 more for the top body weight to strength winners.
Yeah.
You know what I
Okay.
mean? So
No, that's
it's
I mean
seven-
that's a good contribution. I mean, that's
Oh,
amazing. Yeah.
geez. Very grateful to Marty. Marty came out for that, the guy that runs it. And so sport grips, it's a good implement. It's a good warm up, good, burnout, and it will supplement your training. So thank you, Marty at Sport Grips.
Yep. So then after them, we had some company called Staniewicz Strength Equipment. I'm still not sure exactly what they contributed.
Yeah.
But we got them on the shirt. Obviously the Grip Show. Appreciate the contribution for the prizes and then the promotion through stuff like this. TriFit Barbell, our host, that was air conditioned this year. Don't think we mentioned that. They were air conditioned this year, so not quite as miserable. And then Del Toro Designs, Ariana Toro, did our logo work for free, getting that done. So we'll be using that logo in years to come as well.
Okay, cool. Yeah, she competed last year, right, and did very well.
Did.
Yep. Okay,
She
I remember.
was considering this year, but had a lot of other stuff going on at the same time. So, but she did drop by though. She was there that day. So, yep, that's all.
Okay. Yeah, man. Yes, those are all the sponsors. Very grateful for all the sponsors. Oh, and then volunteers. So my wife was on the scorebook. Very convenient for me.
Yeah. So when you were escorted over to the scores table,
yeah,
saying I
said
closed a 205,
yeah,
and you didn't get turned back around like, hey, what No, I'm just
exactly.
messing.
I will testify that I was helping add the scores up at the end, and I said, "Oh shit, Zach won." She said, "Really?" So,
Yeah.
And then my cousin Brent, he helped out with the scoring. My brother came down from Michigan. He wanted to help out, and he did some of the weight loading and scoring, just a little jobs here and there. My buddy Rob Alexander, he did the plate loading. Guy I work with.
I met
Bearded one.
oh, hold on, maybe I'm off. Sorry. I might be mistaking the name. I feel like the dude I'm thinking of is from Virginia. Goes by like Robert Alexander.
No, there is
Different-
another Robert Alexander.
Oh.
This is a different one.
Okay, sorry. Okay, yeah, okay.
Last year he was a guy with a big beard.
Okay,
Anyway,
yeah, not who I'm thinking about for the
Yeah.
other name, but yeah, I'm following you now.
So he did the plate loading. Pork chop Steven came down. He picked up some equipment and he loaded plates for us. So grateful for that.
and then,
Andrew did judging, plate loading, and your buddy.
yeah, and then I had a friend from TriFit named Byron Bennett, another strongman competitor, for a longtime competitor, was judging the other lanes. So definitely thankful for him. I think he worked third shift the night before and
Oh,
still
gosh.
came out to judge. So definitely appreciate that.
Yeah. So I think that's everybody. And then grateful for GSI and Jed and Eric, getting the scores up so quickly. And then with Ricardo, we did the 2x5, so it was a sanctioned arm lifting
Dual
event
sanctioned.
also.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's
Yeah,
something
so-
I was gonna mention that earlier when I mentioned the GSI regional stuff.
Yeah.
I was gonna mention that it was a dual sanctioned competition back when we started the episode, and I kind of
Yeah.
trailed off and forgot. But yeah.
Yeah, I think
That's about it.
that's all the volunteers and everyone that helped out. And yeah, it was a team effort, man. You know what I mean? Like I just, just reach out to people. Everyone's been super helpful and yeah, super grateful for everybody's help.
Okay, well, I'll ask you guys this question. Like I said, I don't want to get too far ahead. I
Yeah.
did this with Jalen for the Dubs Classic part two. Um, whether or not you guys throw your names in for the Southeastern Regionals next year,
Yeah.
whether it's a national, not national, sorry, whether it's a regionals or not,
Yeah.
there will be a third Greenville grab.
That's the plan, brother.
Absolutely.
All right,
The
just
the
checking.
new and improved grueling event for the inch medley is already in the works.
Uh-oh. So you guys are.
it'll be-
I said I didn't want to get too far ahead, put pressure on you guys because we haven't even recapped the second one.
Yeah.
But so I don't want to start talking about, hey, what about the third? But yeah, if you guys are already on it, then okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not gonna give away too much yet, but
Yeah.
we got some diabolical stuff in the works. So
Okay. Yeah. No, keep it a secret for now. We won't
Yeah.
release anything. We'll do that at a different time. But
Yeah,
but yeah,
man.
keep people on their toes and guessing a little bit. But no, I'm glad to hear that because, like I said, I took part in the first year when I was still living in North Carolina, and I, I thought it was an awesome competition. And like I said, me and Zach met very early on, probably one or our first or second competitions ever.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned that in our episode too, and even the Greenville grab, we kind of circled back because like I think we had lifted with Jake Fuller and he did your guys' first event. So yeah, no, it's just great to see that it's established and it's being ran very well and improved upon, and that it's going to stick around. Like I said, I think this regionals and the dual sanctioning for athletes and other stuff. I just think that this is a good move for the organization for GSI, and then as far as dual sanction it for the athletes to get on multiple leaderboards, that's a great thing, and just having kind of a yeah, I don't want to say like, oh, down there, that's like you're the only guy that's hosting grip stuff because there's other things going on. But it's nice to sort of have that support or kind of bring people, in from other areas. Like you said, there was new people there this year. There's probably people that traveled out of state, I'm sure. I mean, you mentioned some of the, I mean, just some of the helpers, the MC, I know are
Yeah.
out of state at least. And then,
Yeah.
so I don't know. I like seeing that, something that's kind of like, hey, it's just this idea. But now here we are that, hey, probably already plotting on year 3 for it and,
Yeah.
kind of getting tied to the regionals this year. So hats off to you guys for putting that together. I mean, from the venue to the sponsors, just everything.
Yeah.
It's a great competition, and it's a very good example that's set that hopefully if anybody is, thinking about jumping into promotion or thinking about maybe doing a regionals,
Yeah.
this is a good way to kind of set that bar that, hey, if you're going to put your name in to host regionals or you're going to get into this thing, this is how it's been done successfully by other people. Kind of follow that blueprint to some degree. You can always put your own twist on it, but, follow those people that have already been there and done that, and they're doing it at a successful rate. So you guys are setting a good marker for some of this stuff moving forward as well, and just kind of taking, I don't know, taking that region up a notch, and for anyone else that wants to jump in, you're
Yeah.
setting a good standard. So,
So
yeah.
there, there's two competitors there. Alex from Charleston area, he competed last year. Anyway, he's running a comp this November. I believe it's an arm lifting event.
Okay.
So he came out last year. So, like I want participation, you know what I mean? Like I don't want to be the only guy running it. So anyway, he's running an event. I don't know if we're his only inspiration, but I know he called me and messaged me. He said, "Hey man, I want to run an event." So I gave him some advice, sent him, all the numbers and people, and then Dusty, who's down the road, he's thinking about running an event too. You know what I mean? Down the road,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So
Oh, no, yeah,
it's fun. It's fun to see, exciting because yeah, I mean Andrew and I can't run at all. You know what I mean? Like
no, for sure. And people don't
there's-
want to wait an entire year just to do
Yep.
that thing. Hey, maybe have some,
Yep.
build up for some other things and kind of lead into
There-
it a little bit.
Yep. So
And,
that's something cool.
Yeah,
Kind of
and I
come from it.
I spoke to W too about his event selection. Because for his, he had like the
Yeah.
2 1/4 crusher as one of his events. And he kind of
Yeah.
mentioned that, we're getting a little later in the year. King
Yeah.
Kong's coming up. This was in King Kong. So you could also train for, the regionals, but not really impact your other training because it's one or, a couple of the implements were kind of similar.
Hmm.
So that's something else in the region that, maybe if you host an event, they don't have to do 4 events the same because nobody wants
Yeah.
to just keep doing the same stuff. But
Yeah.
you might be able to like, hey, this is a common event that's coming up for a bigger competition, and maybe some of those smaller competitions that are kind of starting off ground level can get up, and maybe they kind of pair it up with a bigger event or something else going on like that that they can, I don't know,
Compliment.
kind of just
Yeah.
build momentum going into a different event without having to like change every single aspect of training or have certain
Yeah.
things that have no carryover to other stuff. So I think it's
Yeah.
a it's a cool thing that just more people are hosting and getting involved. So.
Yeah.
And like I said, if that's because of you and the quality of competitions you guys are putting on, then like I said, that's a pretty good like feather in your guys' cap with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just say just keep doing what you're doing, and then yeah, I'll give you guys kind of the last word, or if you guys want to speak on anything, I know we kind of covered it, but just to close out, I mean,
I mean,
yeah,
right now, I mean, on a personal side, Andrew over here, he's going to Ireland in a week.
Yeah, week after next. Yep.
He won the Southeast Natural Strongman
Yeah, regional.
regional.
So we
So
go over there to compete.
yeah, so yeah, I mean, I'm pretty proud of him. He works his tail off. He's always training, putting up videos and stuff. So pretty excited to watch him compete in Ireland in a little over a week. So yeah, so shout out to Andrew, dude, badass.
yeah, no, but yeah, best of luck training for that, and getting through that, and also I would like to point out too, like I said, Andrew, we don't talk often, or we haven't talked a lot, but I do see the videos, I do see the training, and like I said, I was down there for the last competition, but you also bounced back from an injury not too long ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, trying to qualify for a different comp back about a year ago this time. I broke my leg carrying a yoke.
Hmm.
Was able to come back and win that regional show about 3 to 4 months after that. And so
Yeah.
it's still getting older, so it still hurts sometimes when it rains, but not a lot of bother coming out of that. So
Okay.
I'm looking forward to performance in Ireland.
Okay. Awesome, man. Yeah, like I said, best of luck in training, everything else, and nice job on qualifying for that and bouncing back. But yeah, especially it's not like all the training's been perfect. You had that setback, but
Right.
like I said, I saw you injured, and then I think I saw you, you know, kind of go from, the leg is broken to like I don't know. It probably was much slower on your end, but for me watching
Yeah.
it from afar, I was like, man, he went from having a broken leg to like is he deadlifting like 600 pounds today or something? I'm like,
Yeah.
holy shit, what's he up to? What's he
Yeah.
doing? Like,
Well, all things considered, I was very fortunate. The replacement parts came in pretty quick, so
okay,
it healed. It was a pretty minor injury, all things considered. But yeah,
okay,
it definitely was a lot slower on my end. But I am looking
yeah,
back, it was almost just like a blink as well. That like, wow, turned around and was back doing the thing again. So
You
yeah,
did
dude,
what
it's
you
so
do.
hard to
When
get
you were
injured. I
injured,
mean,
you didn't stop everything. You started pressing, right?
right,
He pivoted, and like
yeah,
a message, right? You're gonna have injuries. Pivot, do what you can, keep moving. That's the message.
yep.
Pretty
okay,
cool,
yeah.
dude.
So
I'm super proud of him.
I'm excited
Badass,
about
dude.
it.
All right, so
Pretty cool.
Zach, we got that covered for Andrew. Now, any ideas for your next competition? Not as a promoter, just as a
Oh
as a
yeah.
lifter. You got anything
Yeah,
you're
man.
eyeing?
No, this is good, right? We're here to promote. Alex Skila in Sleepy Hollow, New York, is running the feet meet in September 20th down in New York. So I'm going down there. I was fortunate enough. I have another event going on. I have a little reunion thing going on. So I'm gonna go down there. Pretty cool event. They got all the feats, right? You got reverse bending, you got the Euro, you got the mash monster grippers, you got inch
Inch
blob
blob combo.
combo, inch blob combo. You have actual anvils, not just like a handle. So he's got all these anvils. I think he's got like 50 up to 190, which is pretty cool. Am I missing anything?
No, off the top of my head, I think that's covering it.
So
Yeah. No, it's a cool competition. Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's cool that he's
yeah.
hosting a second time, and
Yeah.
it's sticking around too. So I'm excited because as we kind of mentioned, none of us have been in the sport crazy long compared to some of the
No.
other people.
Yeah.
And within this last 4 to 5 years of just competitions, seeing new competitions emerge, but then stick around, and
Yeah.
from Dub's competition to your guys' competition, Alex's, there's just certain things that have almost become like staples on the calendar. You can almost count on them, I'm not going to name 1,000 different
Yeah.
competitions, but it's cool to see stuff pop up a couple years ago, and hey, it's still here. And
Yeah.
I just think that's one of the biggest things, because you hate to see when somebody hosts a really cool competition and it just disappears.
Yeah.
And I've seen that. Whether it was moving or other stuff, or a lot of chaotic
Yeah.
stuff going on in life, but like me and Ben Helms ran heavy hands, and then it was like,
Yeah.
oh, well, after 2023, where'd that go?
Yeah.
People were, when's heavy hands too? I want to
Yeah.
be there. And it's like, man, we both had we both had kids.
Yeah.
I moved 500 miles, and
Yeah.
it
It's a
just
lot,
never,
dude.
we never were able to bring it back at that time.
Yeah.
So yeah, congrats to you guys again for a well-ran competition, and keeping that in the rotation for the competition calendar. So I'll quit rambling, and we will
Yeah.
get ready to sign off with that. But yeah, thanks again, guys. And I just look forward to what you guys are going to be doing competitive wise, but then also when you guys get together and keep promoting.
Yeah,
Hope
man.
you guys just keep at it. So
Will
yeah,
do.
it's cool to see.
All right. Thanks,
Thank
Malden.
you.
All
Appreciate
right.
it,
Yep.
dude.
No problem. Yep.
Later,
We'll see you
man.
guys next show.